S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are on track for all-time highs. This would be the first record high for the S&P since
wild,
February.
Considering the drops that you were on just talking about last month.
Yeah, it's been an absolutely unbelievable ride. I've never covered anything quite like this. Look at this chart. Yeah. This is the S&P just since this year started. And
wait. This was the CNN, the fake news media, back in April.
Out front tonight, the breaking news, a wipeout. $2.5 trillion today gone in the rout on Wall Street in response to Trump's trade war against 185 countries. And right now, as you look around this ripple around the world, sort of it's like a tsunami rolling around, markets overseas mostly all in the red. And Trump today, meantime, was on the golf course. His Doral Golf Club in Florida hosted the Saudi-owned Live Golf Tournament. So that's where he was. While he was on his way, he was asked about the crisis on Wall Street.
A lot of people were upset today about how their 401ks were doing. Do you have investments when you look at
I think our markets are going to boom.
Of course, the S&P 500 today, as I mentioned, lost $2.5 trillion alone. Now, America's economy, before Trump made any of these announcements, started talking about all these tariffs and the way he was in recent weeks, had a lot going for it.
I want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so crazy?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill our citizens. We will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Oh boy, what's going on, family? Happy Sunday. I hope everybody that's tuned in right now that you are blessed, well, and healthy. But oh boy, you just can't make this up. Comes to find out that they were all wrong. And President Trump was right. And even the fake news media, Democrats, are even saying this might be Trump's best week as president during his second term this past week. And it's been a lot of winning. But even CNN came out and said that Trump is on a roll. And even they're also pretty upset and fuming that even the economists say that Trump has outsmarted them all and that he was right about everything. So let's go roll this beautiful clip and let me know what you think. Check this out.
On the verge of a major market milestone. Both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are on track for all-time highs. This would be the first record high for the S&P since
wild,
February.
Considering the drops that you were on just talking about last month.
Yeah, it's been an absolutely unbelievable ride. I've never covered anything quite like this. Look at this chart. Yeah. This is the S&P just since this year started. And look at that epic sell-off back in March and April. That's because investors were freaking out about the president's Liberation Day tariffs. This market meltdown was so bad that some people on Wall Street were calling it Obliteration Day, right? Traders, economists, investors, Fed officials, everyone was worried that those sky-high tariffs were going to cause a recession. But then what happened? What caused the market to start to go straight up? April 9th, the president walks back those tariffs, and the market's really been on fire ever since then. Look at this. The S&P 500, just since that low in April, has gained almost $10 trillion in market value. It's a stunning increase after a stunning decrease. And this is very good news because, look, this is going to help restore some confidence, right, among consumers, which is really important because consumer spending is the biggest driver of this economy. And we did learn that consumer spending fell in May. This is also going to help restore confidence among investors, among CEOs, small business owners. It's also going to help when people are looking at their 401ks or their investment portfolios, right? They're going to like what they see. Maybe they go out and buy that car. They go out to dinner. They take that vacation.
Yeah, you seen and heard that. And now this brings me into the next clip. But before we jump right into that, y'all know who this is, right? This host, this anchor at CNN, Abby Phillips. Well, yeah, Trump had some words for her. As again, in this next clip, you're going to see them outraged, fuming as they are, and also just desperate as they try to downplay Trump's booming economy and try to drag President Trump through the mud. because it's just win after win after win. And like I tell you guys, you have to trust the process, the long term. Trump is playing chess, and again, like I said, he's going to go down as one of the greatest presidents of all time. All we needed was a new president, an actual president. But Trump's had some words for this lady here because of this next clip that I'm finna play. But this is what he said before we get into the clip. This is what he said about this CNN host, anchor, Abby Phillip. He says, "Where does CNN get its talent? Just watch someone named Abby Phillip lecture her audience on tariffs and the economy, which is doing record business. She has absolutely no idea what she's talking about. Strictly third rate. Fortunately, the audience has long ago left CNN, and it will only get worse. Losers all." Yeah. CNN. They just can't get it right. Fuming, outrage, as we're hitting record highs. But watch this clip right here as they try desperately to downplay President Trump's booming economy. Check this out.
That offered one explanation for the highs in the stock market. There are other explanations. Here's one from Jason Furman, an economist. The macroeconomy is doing decently. He said, especially when it comes to tariffs, the market is now more confident that Trump will back off if necessary. He added, in April, I think the fear was that he would just plow ahead no matter what. Now there is a sense that there are realities that he won't try to blow past.
Exactly.
It's hard to argue, Scott, that that's not accurate when just this week, today, they're saying, oh, that 90-day deadline, we're just going to push it back out another 90 days. So the market's basically saying, oh, okay, they're just going to push it back.
Well, whatever it takes to say Donald Trump is wrong, I guess that's what people will do.
Well, no,
even today.
It's not about wrong. But genuinely, maybe you could argue that this is a negotiating tactic that is working fine. But the truth is, Trump is in fact backing down, and the markets have calmed because of that.
Yeah, he's doing what he thinks he needs to do with individual situations, and look also what's happening with individual companies. We had reshoring announcements this week. General Electric in my home state of Kentucky decided to reshore a bunch of jobs. The CEO of General Electric said the current policy environment is why we're doing it. So they're bringing a whole bunch of jobs from overseas back to the United States. You have announcement after announcement after announcement on top of these great gains in the market. Maybe sometimes the answer is, hey, maybe it's working. Maybe it's working.
But it's not.
But if you tell me you're going to do 10 things and you do one of them and you keep claiming victory and the other 9 are just coming down the...
What about the economy are you unhappy about today?
Me personally, because I could easily go into the...
What about
another bigger picture problem here?
Well, wait a minute. The market, hold on one second. Just on the market. Wait a minute. When the market was plummeting, the market didn't matter. But today the market is good, so now it matters. And this is the double talk we're talking about. It's like the reason why people are hesitant to be like, yes, this is good, Donald Trump, because y'all don't do it either. People are not being honest brokers on these things. People who voted for Donald Trump as working class Americans are still struggling today as they were on November 5th. That is a fact. So they don't care that those arrows on that paper are green. Just like you told me they didn't care when those arrows were red.
Look. We have low gas prices right now. We have jobs coming back to the United States. We have inflation rates slowing.
You sound like me on November 4th.
I mean, we have a lot of
and that was the day before the election,
we have a lot of positive green
if
shoots in the economy, and you don't seem to want to acknowledge it. It's kind of working.
There are positives.
I really don't understand the strategy of creating an enemy out of an ally. I really don't understand why the president is in Canada.
Yeah, why are they taxing us? Why is
the president in Canada a week and a half ago?
Why do we have to accept these taxes?
And he doesn't get any deals done. There is no deal making going on. There's just pushing away our best allies.
Yeah,
why are they taxing us? Can you explain?
Scott,
this is a response to our tariffs.
That is a great question.
It's a direct response.
Why are they taxing us?
Why are they doing this to our company?
Why are they taxing us? Trump has threatened to annex them. Yes. He has slapped tariffs on them. So what incentive does Canada have to play nice?
Because we mean more to them than they mean to us. We have a lot of leverage here, just as the president said.
So
they should not be antagonizing our tech companies.
So Trump can just continue to threaten to take over a sovereign country, tariff them, insult them, and they don't get to fight back?
No, fight back. I mean, if they want to,
I'm just saying, it doesn't seem like a good strategy to engender friendship.
There will be consequences of that in the ongoing negotiation. I don't understand why they thought this was a good idea. As Trump pointed out, Europe already does this. They shouldn't go that direction.
It seems the relationship is deteriorating, and largely because Donald Trump started it. But coming up next.
And that brings me into this next clip, but I know you just seen in that previous clip, Scott Jennings is keeping the lights on at CNN, and he's just shaking his head in disgrace. You know, what's coming out their mouth, especially Abby Phillips. And Trump also was watching, tuned in when he seen this clip and fact-checked, immediately, and posted this. It even called, Abby Phillips a sleaze bag. What comes out their mouth, I'm telling you, I wish, they ought to just shut CNN down. But, saying that Trump will give Iran a deal and $30 billion. But Trump says, who in the fake news media is the sleazebag saying that Trump wants to give Iran $30 billion to build non-military nuclear facilities? Never heard of this ridiculous idea. It's just another hoax put out by the fake news in order to demean these people are sick. Check this clip out.
Keep bombing.
Well, of course. Why would he say he would take any option off the table? And of course, if they try to reconstitute their nuclear weapons program, I assume at that point it would be some breach of whatever agreement we reach with them. So you always, as the American president, have to maintain all of your options. And in this case, not allowing these butchers and these fanatics to have a nuclear weapon is our prime mission. Now, we have severely damaged their ability to do that right now. But if sometime in the future they want to try again, they need to know they'll face the wrath of the United States.
If he were to do a deal with Iran that gave them $30 billion to build a non-military nuclear program, would you be okay with that? That's the reporting that they were considering that.
I know. I've seen the reporting, and I want to see what they end up doing with them. My personal view is they will never, as long as the people who are in charge now are still in charge, they will never stop trying to bring about the end of the world by getting nuclear weapons and eradicating Israel and eradicating the United States. I just don't trust them at all.
Can I play a Scott Jennings advocate for a second, Joel? We were just talking about I wasn't sure where we were going.
Yeah, you just can't make that up. But, CNN actually got this next clip right. And I'm surprised they even aired this. But hey, they admit that this might be one of Trump's best weeks. That Trump is on a roll. Check this out. And also, if you haven't yet, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're new here, join the family. And let me know.
The mission was carried out with stealth and with precision. There were no American casualties. And while Congress is divided after receiving briefings on the extent of the damage, I'm sure that we've derailed Iran's nuclear program, at least temporarily. And there's some valuable deterrent effect for America's adversaries who witnessed last week's exercise. Then, last Tuesday, President Trump left the White House en route to Europe. At the time, there was a question as to whether Israel and Iran would honor a ceasefire. That caused the president to offer the most unfiltered, non-controversial, direct words that I can recall anybody ever saying about the Middle East.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Cut to The Hague, where he arrived for NATO meetings and was able to wrangle an agreement from our allies to more than double their defense spending target from 2% of gross domestic product to 5% by 2035. Also, while at NATO, in a press availability, he did something rare for Trump and I found rewarding. He showed empathy. It came in an exchange with a Ukrainian journalist who said that her husband was a soldier. She asked whether the U.S. would supply her country with Patriot missiles.
Are you living yourself now in Ukraine?
My husband is there.
Wow.
And
I can see you very, it's amazing.
And me with the kids, I'm in Warsaw actually, because he wanted me to be.
Is your husband a soldier? No?
He is.
He's there now. They do want to have the missiles, okay, as they call them, the Patriots. And we're going to see if we can make some available. I wish you a lot of luck. I mean, I can see it's very upsetting to you. So say hello to your husband, okay?
Also in that presser, he was more reflective and respectful than usual of our allies.
They want to protect their country, and they need the United States. And without the United States, it's not going to be the same. And I left here differently. I left here saying that these people really love their countries. It's not a ripoff, and we're here to help them protect their country.
Back at home, Trump claimed that he's reached a trade deal with China and soon expects the same with India. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick told Bloomberg that the deal was signed earlier this week. China's Commerce Ministry said Friday the two sides had further confirmed the details of the framework. Of course, Trump's initial imposition of tariffs wreaked havoc on American markets back in the spring. But now the markets have rebounded and grown. The S&P 500, NASDAQ hit record highs just yesterday. And it's not just the stock market. Inflation, the great economic fear of recent times, seems to be tamed. The rate is now reported at 2.4%, down from a high of 7% just 4 years ago. Meanwhile, blue-collar workers have seen real wage growth of 1.7% in Trump's first 5 months. This is the largest such increase in nearly 3 generations. Notwithstanding its impact on our national debt, there's also hope among some that Trump's big, beautiful bill will give further financial relief to blue-collar workers, as well as create incentives to build more factories in the U.S. Some already see this happening. For instance, General Electric has just announced that it'll invest almost $500 million in moving production of washing machines from China to Kentucky. And then there's the border. Crossings have slowed to a trickle. According to CBP's May update, Southwest border encounters have fallen to about 282 a day, a drop of 93% from last year and the lowest since the early 1960s. Perhaps the loudest cheering for those border numbers is coming from America's Latino community, which might initially sound counterintuitive. On Thursday, Pew Research released an enormous data analysis of the 2024 election, which contains several surprises. High on that list, President Trump won a bigger percentage of the Latino vote than previously believed. Hillary Clinton had a 38% lead over Trump among Hispanics in 2016. Joe Biden beat Trump in this demo by 25 percentage points. Kamala Harris's margin among these same voters over Trump, just 3 points. Even more surprising, perhaps, Pew Research concludes that if everyone had voted in 2024, contrary to the widely held belief that higher turnout helps Democrats, Trump would still have won. The data show 44% of non-voters said that they would have gone for Trump compared to 40% of non-voters who would have gone for Harris. So if more had voted, his margin would have grown. Yesterday came a huge decision from the Supreme Court. The High Court declared that federal district judges exceeded their authority when issuing nationwide injunctions against Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship. This will, of course, strengthen executive power both for Trump and for his successors. And finally, a Democratic socialist just won the nomination for mayor of New York City. And perhaps you're wondering, well, how does that affect Trump? It gives him the perfect foil, someone to play off in future political battles. This morning's New York Post references campaign literature for Zohran Mamdani, which advocates for increased taxation for, quote, richer and whiter neighborhoods. Just imagine what Trump will do with that. Winning became a punchline that Trump's opponents used to lampoon him in his first administration. He was a political novice then, surrounded by a team with which he was unfamiliar, and he was probably as surprised as the rest of us were that he won the election. This time is different. This time he came with a plan and a cabinet with senior advisors comprised of loyalists all well known to the president. And recently he's exhibited a more layered approach to governing on both the domestic and international front, no longer solely guided by winning each day's news cycle. By any objective measure, President Trump has his opponents on the run.